Let's start off with the Clippers. The Clippers are now 6-3. Paul George, again, unbelievable. He got 21 points. He split up 21 points. Kawhi got 21 points. Leatherface, as he's called nowadays.
Right.
They've been shooting well. Ibaka and Batum actually look like good additions. So, how good do the Clippers look? Are they better than last season? Are they more focused? For me, at least, I feel that Kawhi now seems like a part of this team. Last season, he was probably the best player, but he didn't look as focused. Didn't look as integrated. Now he's there. He's making jokes about how Ibaka is on the trade block because he hit him and whatnot, and he looks more focused. And is it something to do with the coaching style that has changed? Is it something to do with don't want last season's disasters to happen again, and so they look more focused, they're playing better? What's happening with the Clippers?
A bit of everything, I think. Look, even last season, I don't think it was a skill issue with the Clippers. I don't think anyone doubted their ability to go out, play ball, and win. It was more, in fact, until they fell apart, people didn't really expect them to fall apart. Certainly not after being 3-1 up and then leading every game of the remaining 3 closeout games. The biggest issue was cohesiveness, team chemistry, players staying committed, locker room issues, really, off the floor and mental strength. That really was what it boiled down to. And uncharacteristically, Kawhi choked in a game 7. That's not something you'd see from him in a clutch game usually. And that's it. They got bounced out, and they looks like they had to take a long, hard look at themselves, introspect, and see what they need to adjust, especially their 2 superstars who A, need to carry the team in clutch moments like those, and B, can't really be the source of division in the locker room. And if they are, then that's something that needs to change. And we won't go into it now, but we've heard the stories. Kawhi, Paul George, the disruptions. It looks like they've plugged a lot of that, and perhaps some credit should go to Ty Lue for getting that sorted. He did mention for straight up that was a priority for him. The other thing is they have strengthened in the off season. They've lost some depth here and there, but I think Batum, like you pointed out, has been a great addition, and that was a steal really, because I don't think any club was really looking at Batum. I don't think he was being considered by any club, and these guys picked him up. It's a daunting contract to pick up, but if you put the money that he gets paid aside, I think he's been a valuable addition. He's a proper number 4, but one that can run the floor, strong defensive presence, rebounding, good passer, multiple assets that he brings to the game. So Batum's been a great addition. Ibaka was one of the most pivotal signings of this season for any club, and we recognize that, as did pretty much everyone else, and that's proving to be a good addition too. So the pieces are there. They've traded up, so to speak, from Montrezl Harrell to Ibaka. I think Batum is a welcome addition. What they really need to figure out now is this sustainable? Because Kawhi Leonard, it's almost a freakish sight, right? Kawhi Leonard, for the first time in, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, played back to back.
Yep.
It's so bizarre. He played back to back nights. It's unprecedented almost. So is this sustainable? Because if it is, you've got to imagine the kind of boost that gives to a team to see this superstar that they perceived maybe as a diva last season, to see him really live up to the hype. They know he has the skill. What they were looking for was the commitment and the focus and the dedication. And if he does that, and if he brings that all season long, the effect it's going to have on galvanizing that team is next level. And Paul George is shooting lights out, night in, night out. Maybe that'll get rationalized to an extent. But he is still PG, and we know who he is, and we've seen this before in the regular season. So again, sad as it is, I'm going to hold out until he does this in the playoffs and gets series wins, not just good performances up. But they look good. They look good. They look stronger than last season. A lot more focused than last season. Credit to Ty Lue, credit also to both their superstars for getting it together and being positive influences in the locker room.
Right. My one concern with the Clippers, though, is do they really have the depth like they did last season? Because I think of the 3 games they lost, one was against a good Utah Jazz, of course. The game they lost against the Mavs, Kawhi didn't play that game. The game they lost against the Spurs, PG didn't play that game.
Yeah.
So kind of the trend, I know it's a small sample, but the trend that is that if they don't have one of the 2 superstars, they're going to struggle because the depth, whom do they have? They lost out Landry Shamet, and I wouldn't even call it an upgrade to Luke Kennard.
No, of
They
course
have
not.
Zubac.
Yeah,
They don't really have that quality that they had last season, do they? And
right.
if I mean, it's a tough season with games coming fast and quick at you. If one of the stars pick up an injury, do you think they still have the legs to still be a contender and be a strong team as they are now?
Yeah, I mean, in the regular season, if someone picks up an injury short term, they'll tide over it. They'll maybe drop a few games, but they'll be fine. If it happens
Mm-hmm.
in the playoffs, it's going to get really, really tough for this team. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the I think to some extent having Marcus Morris come back, that gives them some depth that they were missing, because he's both a strong interior presence on the defensive end and also a spacing option on
Mm-hmm.
the offensive end, and he is a pretty good three shooter. So him coming back is a welcome move. But uh, if either Paul George or Kawhi Leonard isn't available for a game or a stretch of games, that's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
problem. But is that really surprising? That's true for most teams that have two superstar players. You take AD out of the Lakers, it's going to ask that much more of LeBron. And if
Mm-hmm.
these are games where they don't feel the need for him to go all out, then the Lakers are going to look quite average. Um, same is true if LeBron's out, and unless they're playing a weak team, they are going to look depleted. Now, this season, maybe with the addition of Schroeder and Harrell and all of that, the Lakers are probably a little more well balanced than the Clippers, and that is something that we've acknowledged time and time again, is that the
Mm-hmm.
Clippers lack a ball carrier, a playmaker. So when Kawhi and Paul George are on the floor, neither of them really are elite playmakers, but they can get their own, and they can get their own so well that it makes the team look good. But in their absence, who's running the floor? Who's got the ball? Lou Williams off the bench, maybe, but
Yeah.
he's not a playmaker. He's into that mold of players that kind of get their own shot, but he's not going to run their offense quite the way they need to. This was
Yeah.
an acknowledged gap. This is why everyone said they really missed out when they didn't go after Rondo, and
Mm-hmm.
they didn't, make the money offer that Atlanta finally made. So that's still a gaping hole. So anytime one of their two superstars is out injured, that's going to be a problem. When they sit out games, it's going to be a problem, and when they get injured, it's going to be a problem. What they should hope for is, now that they have some sort of semblance of balance in their squad, and they seem to
Mm-hmm.
have some chemistry going, and they have a good coach in their mix. What they should hope for is to use this regular season to build momentum, find all of their rotations, figure out how they integrate with each other. What unit closes out the first quarter, what unit starts the second, all of these little things, and hope that both their superstars stay fit. Because all of last
Mm-hmm.
season, I thought they did two things wrong. One, it seems like they built their entire squad to stop the Lakers. It's like all they thought about was the Lakers, and they didn't kind of factor in Jokic and Murray, and they kind of got knocked out for it. That was one. The other was, you got the sense that these guys were always playing with this mentality of, we are so elite that at
Mm-hmm.
will we can flip a switch and just become unstoppable, become a juggernaut.
Yeah.
But the whole point of a juggernaut is you build momentum and you keep building momentum and it doesn't stop. You don't
Right.
go from 0 to 100. The whole concept of a juggernaut is you keep going 0, 10, 50, 100, 200, 300, right? Now, as they found out, you can't just go through an entire regular season resting left, right, and center and saying, oh, we'll get to the playoffs, we'll just flip a switch. No, doesn't work. Doesn't work. And your teammates don't respect you for it. So then there's the intangibles aspect of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't chill through the regular season while they're working their ass off. So as long as I don't think this squad is designed to exclusively beat the Lakers. I don't think that's kind of how they went about it. I don't think they've built a perfect squad or even remotely a complete squad. But the caliber of their two superstars is such that if they can get a consistent run of games going in the regular season, this is a formidable team. And the way the West is built right now, they again slot in right behind the Lakers as a
Yep.
Western Conference
Yep.
powerhouse.
Yep, that's where I was going next. The table seems to be slowly taking shape now that we have 8, 9, 10 games done. Phoenix Suns sit atop, but I think that will eventually fall down to
Right.
3 or 4. But I think Clippers have firmly established themselves as the second best team in the Western
Yeah, for sure.
Conference.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So that was the Clippers. It'll be fun to watch them. Uh, it's always fun to watch them. Last season off the court, this season on the court. So